Hand-me-down, loved by many, ripped to shreds by some, patched, trimmed and mended, and thrown to the ground. I've been passed down from one to another since there I can remember, just a hand-me-down. I've got blessings and beatings woven to the seams of my soul. I've got patches of other stories that make up my own.
I've been pulled and stretched, shaped to fit so many forms. I've been worn to dance with royalty, thrown to the floor. Well, I've been amongst the lost, but have always been found. Yes, I've been picked up and handed down.
Hand me down, loved by many, ripped to shreds by some, patched, trimmed and mended, and thrown to the ground. I've been passed down from one to another since there I can remember, just a hand-me-down. I've got blessings and beatings woven to the seams of my soul. I've got patches of other stories that make up my own. I've been pulled and stretched, shaped to fit so many forms. I've been worn to dance with royalty, then thrown to the floor. Well, I've been amongst the lost, but have always been found. Yes, I've been picked up and handed down. Hand me down, loved by many, ripped to shreds by some, patched, trimmed and mended, and thrown to the ground. I've been passed down from one to another. Yes, I've been picked up and handed down.
Highly experimental, but just since you asked for an encore.
When Geshe-la gave the Georgia teachings at the Quiet Retreat teachings.
And then he asked us to do a song for Georgia in here, and so...
Because you guys had a Georgia party, so we had a Georgia party.
So this is from our Georgia.
So this is our so this is our Georgia song, which is totally crazy and fun. Okay. I don't know how this is gonna go.
I go for shelter to your chest, your neck, and your brow. From a world of petty things I've tried to care about, not a one of them is worth the love that I've found. Not of the love that I've found.
You see me without seeing the dream that I'm dreaming of anguish and doubt. It's a dream I believe I look better without. Darling, take me now. Darling, take me
Thank
now.
God for you, baby, 'cause I can't go on without you. Your love's the only thing that I just don't doubt. I need you to stay with me, 'cause I can't face any other.
All I wanna do is follow you around, 'cause you're the only one who never lets me down. The higher we fly, the deeper we fall. The bright of your eyes, the song of your calling me home. Darling, call me home.
Now there's a hole in the place of the me I thought I had to be, so I'd rather not believe in my vision of me. Darling, I prefer what you see. Darling, I prefer what you
Thank
see.
God for you, baby, 'cause I can't go without you. Your love's the only thing that I just don't doubt. Need you to stay with me,
me, 'cause I just can't face any other way.
And if it's true that we all have been mother, lover, cousin, and kin, and the children you blessed with the milk from your breast, darling, would we all be blessed?
Darling,
Thank God for you, baby, 'cause I can't go on without you. Your love's the only thing that I just don't doubt. I need you to stay with me, 'cause I can't face any other way. Longing to love the way you love me, give you the me that you would want me to be. All my wrongs and all my problems I release, make me free of these. 'Cause now I'm trying for the first time. I needed you to show me how I'll walk the line. Stay, baby, stay, and don't let love slip away, and all the love we've made, till everyone is safe in the arms, in the arms, in our arms, in the arms. Thank God for you, baby, 'cause I can't go on without you. Your love's the only thing that I just don't doubt. I need you to stay with me, 'cause I can't face any other way. Just can't face any other way.
because I can't go without you. Your love's the only thing that I just don't doubt.
You,
babe.
Can't go on without you, babe. Can't go on without you, babe.
Talk about the publications, and I had prepared something that kind of covers them a little bit, and then Geshe gave me this list of things I needed to cover. So we'll go through the basically. You can change it now. So he has several different publishing media. One of them is Doubleday. That was his first publisher, and they published these books. And now we're ready for the next one. Tim. These are from MSTP, which is run by the Rashi Gimbaling. And this is the first book that, well, maybe it wasn't the first one. Anyway, it's the book that ACI 1 was based on. And it's from a Pabonga Rinpoche teaching. The other three, that's why I put the website there. They're available. These are the books that this teaching that we're at right now are based on. So if you go there, you can order them. They also have Spanish. So the whole thing has been translated. Okay, next. This is Diamond Cutter Press, which was founded in order to publish How Yoga Works. But they've gone on to publish some other books of Geshe Michaels. Lately, The Karma of Love. And King of the Dharma is an amazing book. If you ever, there's one for sale at the bookstore. It might be a sample, but you can order them online from Diamond Cutter Press. You just Google it. It's a fantastic, amazing. It's the best scholarly work on Jetson Kaba I think that's ever been done in the 700 years since he was. Oh, no, without a doubt. Anyway. Next. Okay, so then we started Diamond Mountain University Press. Was founded mainly by Venerable Udpala, who's not here right now. And more recently, Ami and I are running it, which she went into retreat. And these are some books that we've published. They're really good. These ones over here are all Geshe-la's teachings from his first 3 retreat, and they're among the best teachings I've heard. They're, you know, without notes, from the heart, and they're just really beautiful. Okay. Then after that we have, more recently he's gotten the rights to publish his translations. He has personal rights over, he's rolling his eyes, so maybe I've done something wrong here. Translations of his books, mainly Doubleday. And so you can ask him if you want to translate something into another language, and here's all the ones that are being worked on right now. Well, Kyrgyzstan is under negotiation right now. The Portuguese rights were just bought in Brazil. Actually, that's the last one that Doubleday actually owns. Swedish is out. Everything's been published in Bulgaria. Everything's been published in Germany. The Vietnamese, there's a picture there of one of them. They published Diamond Cutter. Everything's been published in Hebrew, even things that haven't been published here. Writing. Chinese. There's a word before Chinese, I can't read it. Taiwan has published, I think, everything. They're working on Karma of Love right now. Russia is in the process of doing How Yoga Works. There's an Italian version that's coming out soon. There's a Portuguese version coming out in Portugal. The Greek version just went to the publisher. There's a thing, Geshe sponsors actually a lot of these. The Greek one is pretty much, and a lot of the translations for countries that are under economic duress and don't, they can't publish it themselves. They're the ones who really need it. So a lot of the DCI money goes to helping that, just FYI. Let's see. Oh, King of the Dharma is coming out in paperback soon. Since like a long time, but I think it's really going to happen now. Rob Ressinger has been working really hard on it. And then there will be no excuse not to buy it. You really need to have that book. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's a company in Germany called Warner Brothers. It's a movie maker that wants to make a movie of the Diamond Cutter. I don't think it's the same Warner Brothers. It isn't? Oh, okay. Okay. The Diamond Cutter's coming out in Romanian, or is already out. Just came out. He had an offer to print by the largest publisher in Russia. So that's also in the works. We're getting the Japanese rights back to Diamond Cutter, and that's in the process of being translated. The Chinese are finishing Karma of Love. I know Stanley's involved, and probably some others. So I sat next to him on the plane while he was translating part of it, and he's doing a great job. It slowed down after he got his girlfriend, says Geshe. The Serbian is coming out. Serbian is already out. Let's see now. Oh, so he's working on a collaboration to write a book with a Sufi from... Where's he from? Uzbekistan. And his name is Norbekov. And he's really famous. And he's published like, 30 million books or something like that. 40 million. And anyway, so they're working on this collaboration to write something. Then there's another book he's working on with Mr. Wu, who we all know. And it's a book it's going to be called China Love You. And it's for people who are afraid of China. So that they get an idea of what the Chinese people really are like. Because we don't get a good idea. And, media always distorts, going both ways. So it's a way to even that out. He's writing a book called The Better History of Time, which will refute... what's the history of history? Yeah. Stephen Hawking. There's a Mexican Diamond Cutter. the Argentinians have the rights to everything, so they're going to be publishing or have published a lot already. We just got a contract signed from there. I have a note saying Bucharest, but he was talking so fast I couldn't get it all down, but Bucharest. Poland is reissuing the Diamond Cutter. There's the Karma of Love being translated into French right now, and that's probably about halfway through. There's a Turkish person wants to translate the Tibetan Book of Yoga. It's been out for 10 years. And they're negotiating right now to translate the Diamond Cutter into Arabic, which would be very, very interesting. You want to do the last slide? This is a pitch for people to help us. So if you want to help, we're looking for transcribers from these teachings. And there's a lot of things that need transcribing that would help make publication go a little faster. So here's the URL if you want to sign up online, and if you want to sign up in person, Christina's in the back there holding up a book, and you can talk to her. And she and Venerable Upala are running the project together. Okay, thank you for your time.
What time are we supposed to stop? Just right. Go crazy.
We're stopping at 7:30.
We'll ignore that. Alright, let's meditate. You ready? It's really nice to meditate at sundown. It's very powerful. And it's very nice outside. You get a lot of extra power. So relax your face, your hands. Pull in your stomach slightly till you feel the muscles tighten. Some of you might want to try cracking your eyelids open a little bit. Relax your shoulders. Don't keep tension in your shoulders. Forget your legs, okay? They're gonna hurt after a few days of sitting like this. Just leave it. Let them hurt, it's okay. You're not gonna die. You won't be crippled. And then please come to your breath. to imagine these mountains behind me, and the dusk is coming. The sky is turning from blue to a darker blue, and then slowly it's changing to black. Try to see with your eyes closed what's been happening in the last 15 minutes or so. And you can see a small star rising, like Venus above the horizon. Beautiful blue-white star. Very far away. I know it may seem strange to say, but try to see it with your forehead's eye. Try to focus on that star as if you were looking through the place at the center of your forehead, not too far from your eyebrows. So it's almost as if you're looking through the bone of your skull, and you're looking at that star with an eye, which is there. And the angle is slightly up, so it's not directly in front of your forehead, but you're looking through your forehead up a little bit, just a little bit. There's this beautiful blue-white star. And please imagine that you can come closer to the star. Your eye, looking through your forehead, is able to make it bigger, closer. It's as if you're getting closer to the star. Then you start to notice it's not a round star, just the outline of a person in meditation. But it's sitting in deep black of space above the horizon. You bring it closer. You can see it's a living person meditating. Beautiful body, like a star, but alive. And very peaceful and ultimately wise, seeing all things, looking down on this world. Come a little closer. Then you're very close to the person sitting in the dark sky, blackness, breathing, ultimately peaceful, ultimately with ultimate knowledge and vision. Then you look closer at the face and you realize it's your own face. This is the Buddha that you will be. Sit with that Buddha for a while. Enjoy the beauty of their face, their peace, very, very deep peace. Great love pouring out of them. And try to have the feeling that they are watching over the whole world, taking care of this earth and all the people and other creatures of this earth. And there are you in the near future. And sit with them for a while. Enjoy being with them. smaller, you're coming back to this platform. You lose the outline of them as a person. They become round again. Then you're all the way back on the platform. And they're just a star rising over the horizon at Diamond Mountain. They're far away, but not in miles. They are several years ahead. They are away from you in time. And they're coming. Then please come back to your breath. Follow your breath quietly. And slowly you can start to move. Open your eyes. Let's alternate paragraphs and questions, okay? I get to go first as usual. Dende Dorje Chunky Chupe Lopen Deyang. Okay? The third line up there in the middle. Dende. Dorje Chunky Chupe Lopen. This is beautiful. That kind of personal teacher who is an emanation of Vajradhara, Deyang, Rangi Lame Septu, Nyapayate, is without question in the sep of your lama. So say sep.
Sep.
Sep is a very, very rare word. It comes in the Abhidharma, where they explain rebirth gone wrong. And instead of landing in someone's womb, you end up in the middle of a stone, like this big of a stone. So then if you break those stones open, inside you can find the skeleton of this creature. So that's the only place you'll ever see the word sept. So septu, but it's a beautiful word. It means deep within the inside of something. Okay, and it's rare. Septu. So Vajradhara is in the sept of your lama's chest. Okay, the Buddha. Then Ngepar means without question. There's no question. Okay, they are embedded in the chest of your teacher or your partner. Okay, they are there. Buddha. Okay, I like it. Rang Re Le Nyung Ki Nyam Takpa. People like us, we are Nyam Takpa. Nyam Takpa means pitiful. We are in a pitiful condition. Okay, very sad. Sad, messed up condition. Nyam Takpa. Why? Because of Le and Yun. Yeah. Because of the things we did in the past, the power of the things we did in the past, and also because our uncontrollable mind, all our negativities, okay? So because of that, we are pitiful. Nyam Takpa, Dindar Gyurpa, that's how we have ended up. Dorje Changi, but that Vajradhara who's embedded in your teacher's chest, Sewa. Sewa is Sikh. This is the Sikh in Chandra Sikh. Or Guan Yin. One kind of Guan Yin means listening to everybody's problems or something like that. This Sikh means to look. Chen Rei means like this. Like, you know, when you mess up and your teacher's like, or Chen Rei can mean with love, you know, like, it means looking down with love. Chen Rei Sikh, okay? Sikh. So who is seeking here? Our teacher, embedded in, Vajradhara embedded in our teacher's chest, is looking at us with sewa. Love, okay? With love. And, you know, we're just all messed up and they're like, okay? Like that. Sarah Sikshing Kim, and they know us in and out. They know everything about us. You can't hide anything from them. They're looking at you and they're like, you know, okay. With love, you know, but with pain also. Okay. So, Long Ray Tang San, Wang Doki Ne, She New Shing, Dam Bin Dup New Bit Den So Joy, Yepa Do New Yo, Shem, Fakte Kap Yema, Kim Be. They also know that Rang Ray means us. Teng San, we had Teng San. Nowadays, right? What was that? The last Teng San?
About the January age.
Oh yeah, it's nowadays Teng San. That's a very common colloquial term also. Teng San, Nishin, but that's a chinny. Caucasian would do. You know, modern kids don't know anything. You hear that kind of thing all the time. Teng San. Okay. Remember, Teng San. Lang Dorkin Ne She Nu. But we have a capacity of coming to understand Lang Dor. Say Lang Dor. Lang means things you should do, and Dor means things you shouldn't do. So we have the capacity to learn. We are unlearnable. You know, okay? Like, we can figure it out. Give us time, we'll figure it out, okay? What we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, okay? Long Dor. Ne Nu Shing, Dam Dun Dup Nu. And if someone gives us the right teaching, we have the power to carry it out. Like, so, Nipe Ten, we have a body and mind which has really high potential. we have a good body and we have a good mind. Okay, that's called a ten, which means a support. But it's a technical Buddhist term for body and mind. We have a ten with which we can practice. And then so Jorway, we've achieved that much. We can turn it into something powerful. Okay, we have that capacity. Shenle Hapekap. This is a better chance than we've ever had in our many lifetimes. And they kemba. They understand that that's our condition. So they see us. They see our weaknesses, and they perceive that we are of infinitely rich potential. At the same time, they understand that we are, with the right training, we could really turn out to be somebody really beautiful. They understand that. They see us through and through. Okay. Then he says a very powerful thing, okay? He says, this kind of description of who your teacher is, with Vajradhara embedded in them, applies to Kun, Lama Kun, all your teachers, okay? All your teachers. He says, all your teachers, okay? Kunyente. Why? Deta Mimpar, if it wasn't like that, Rere la Gyuta Rere Kune, Minluk Samma, if you pick and choose among your teachers, this one I believe has Vajradhara embedded in them, but that one I don't know. And he says, Gyuta and Kun means, and you try to convince yourself, you give yourself reasons why that one's a Buddha, but that one's not. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I believe this teacher is. It's very beautiful. I believe this teacher is a Buddha, but that other one, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that one. Okay, like that, pick and choose. With reasons in your mind, like, oh, that one, because of this and this and this, I don't think so. Okay. Kune Minluk Samna. If you allow yourself that kind of way of thinking, okay, Samna, Rere Sel Shuldu. Shuldu means the implication of that, okay. It's a kind of a rare word. Shuldu means, then actually, that would imply what? Dorje Changi Julpa, Chikyang, Nihaka Shikureyon, that Vajradhara was limited to a single body. Vajradhara can only emanate one person at a time. Okay. That would be the implication. This Lama is a Buddha, but I don't think those other three are. Then what do you think? Like Vajradhara can't emanate three people at once. Okay, that's the implication of that kind of thinking. Like, don't get into that state of mind that there's not enough Vajradharas to embed in people's chests. Okay, there's plenty. Right? There's more than enough. And in that case, we would contradict the scriptures that we've been quoting, the tantras and sutras that we've been quoting. And in that case, Sangiki Tupa Shik, Sangiki Tupa Gyun Pape, Sangiki Tupa Shik Yoga, therefore, it's logical that one or more of the people around you are already Buddhas. Okay, it's logical that not just teachers, but one or more of the people around you are already enlightened. Okay, then you get into this really nice paranoia. Paranoia?
Paranoia.
Huh?
Paranoia.
Yeah, like You know, like you don't know who's who. If you reach a state in your life where you think you're getting a little weird because half the people in your life seem like they're enlightened, that's a good place to be. Okay. If you start to have bad days where it seems like half the people in your life that you thought were weird or just special, then you're doing good. Okay? You're on the right track. Okay? Or dragonflies flying around the middle of the night without any water. Okay. I'll go a little bit more. Dena sange minde gitsun shata kune manepa de rangi lokin yin dupe. Dena sange. So we, in our lives, our tendency is to look for reasons why people are not Buddhas. Okay? Like we're not looking for reasons why they could be. We're trying to disqualify people. Oh, this person couldn't be a Buddha for blah blah this reason, okay? So again, Mimik, you say shut up if you want to learn Tibetan. Shut up means 100%. You know, that's our constant theme in our life. You know, we're always thinking that. Shut up, okay? Shut up. Good, eh? Good means, Gyuten good means to give a reason in a debate ground or to set forth a proof or to set forth a reasonable reason why people are not Buddhists. So we go around all day trying to prove to ourselves, giving reasons to ourselves why that particular person could not be a Buddha. Okay? We tend towards that. Gune, Manyepa, and then we don't find any Buddhas. Okay? There, Rangilo Kyun Yin. The Kyun is in Rangilo. You know Kyun Mandu, right?
No problem.
Yeah, no problem. Kyun Mandu. But Kyun means problem. Problem. So here it says the problem is Rangilo. In your mind. Okay? You want a problem? It's your problem. The problem's in your mind. Okay? Rangilo Kyun Yindu. That's where the problem is. Yindu Pe. Lama de Tamje Sangeki Chupa Shara Yin Nyam Desam. You gotta start thinking that every teacher you ever met was a Buddha. In high school, in elementary school, on the football stadium, you know, every kind of teacher you ever met was a Buddha, period. Forget, just decide. Nyam Desam means decide. And maybe most of the people you ever met. Okay? Just decide. Okay? Like that. Nyam Desam. Next. Deta kaza yi che ke lawa dakla ni nung ki chok me. Tadu ripe duche kupa na nge pa tewa chewe. Deta kaza yi che ke lawa dakla ni. So people who buy things easily, okay? People who accept ideas without much examination, is that desirable or not?
No.
Not desirable, okay? Lungi chok mo, lungi chok. We had chok the other day. We put it in our dictionary. It was allowable, okay? It's enough, okay? That's enough for them. What? Lung. Yeah, you quote Vajradhara and some Tantra and they go, okay, I believe it. My Lama's a Buddha, okay? Thank you. Lungi chok mo. Okay, there are people like that. But, dadung, if we keep going, if we go deeper, if we try to prove it logically, then you will come to greater conviction about these ideas. Okay? So I gave you the tantras and I gave you the quotations. Vajradhara himself said, I will pass, but I will come back wearing your teacher's body. And he said it many times. Okay? Okay, so some people who are sort of intellectually lazy, they will say, oh, it's enough for me. If the Buddha said it, It's okay with, I agree. My teachers are wrong. Then there's some people who seem to be irritating sometimes because they just won't buy it unless you keep proving it to them. But in Buddhism, we prefer those people because they, once you convince them, they never quit. They are logical. They're not running on faith and they're not running on emotion. They're running on prove it to me, and then I'll believe my teacher's a Buddha. But if you can't prove it to me, just pull out some quotation from some old book. Who knows where this book came from? Maybe John Brady's team mistyped it. Something. Okay. Yeah, but then prove it to me. Okay, prove it to me. So that's where we go tomorrow. Okay. That's going to be the second of the 4 ideas we talked about. What was the first one? Yeah, no, budget, no, we had 3, then we had 4. Yeah, the secret Buddha said he would come back as our teacher. And then what was the second one? Funnel. Yeah, like, we can't handle the sensory overload of a billion Buddhas showing up at our cottage tomorrow morning. Like we need just one that we can relate to. We need a funnel. So we reached the funnel. Okay. It's a discussion, a logical discussion of the concept of a funnel. Okay. We call it channeler. Right? Someone who channels the Buddhas. Okay. And by the way, then we'll do a question. If the Buddhists chose someone to be their funnel, would that funnel have to be themselves enlightened or not? That question's going to come tomorrow. So maybe you want to cook it. If you were an enlightened being, or a team of a billion enlightened beings, who would you choose to be your funnel if you wanted maximum results? You see what I mean? Like if you wanted, if this person was going to represent all of you to Nick Lasho on planet Earth, who would you choose? Would you choose a person who's enlightened, or would you choose a person who's not enlightened? If you wanted the best possible outcome. Think about it. Okay, any questions? Anybody have a question? We have about 15 minutes if you want. Yes, Miss Erin.
Yesterday, I had this question since yesterday, so I have to remember how to say it. Okay. There were 2 things. One was, when we were talking about why, so we said, why should I, and then, is it even possible? And then there's the proof, well, you seem to give yourself the benefit of the doubt, so why can't you give your teacher that benefit? So, and then the scripture said that we tend to be easier on ourselves. And then there's the other thing that when you're thinking of that everything is coming from our seeds, then if we see our teacher as a holy being, then that's coming from our seeds. And so I guess I have this question of why is it so easy to, it seems like there's this tendency to be hard on ourselves in that way, to not think that if I see something beautiful, it's coming from me.
Yeah, good.
And then on the other hand, to be so easy on ourselves. So why are we always battling back and forth?
So I'll summarize the question so everybody heard it. So the scripture was mentioning our tendency to give ourselves a break and see ourselves in the best light, but we don't do the same with other people. So we have a bias towards how we see ourselves. On the other hand, a lot of us have trouble acknowledging the goodness in ourselves. So how do you reconcile those 2 facts of life? And those are people who travel with ACI a lot. We meet people year after year. We meet them every year, so we come back in a year. And then some people have a beautiful boyfriend. I like the lady in Bulgaria story. the first year she was lonely. The second year she visited an old lady. The third year she had a boyfriend. The fourth year they got married. The fifth year, which was this year, she did not come to the program, and I was a little bit irritated. She's a famous TV personality in Bulgaria. She's like the Oprah Winfrey of Bulgaria. You know, and I was kind of feeling, what do you call it? This? And then we gave this long program at a, some auditorium, and then I walked out, and there she is, I'm like, what are you doing here? And she said, well, I couldn't come. I said, well, why couldn't you come? And she's like, she opened her coat and she's pregnant. She said, I was sick. I got a baby, that's the next chapter of my story. So she's really happy. The baby has come out. And so anyway, there are two kinds of people that we meet in ACI. One is the lady with the baby who now on TV, she's a fanatical DCI person on TV. There's a nice TV show we can show you someday. We were on her TV show. It was all purple disco lights. But there's those success stories. And then there's the very frustrated people who come and say, my friend got a boyfriend, my other friend is pregnant, my other friend, the doctor told her she couldn't have a baby, and after she planted the seed, she had a baby. And then here I am, I'm visiting the old lady, nothing's happening, And then, we have to sort of, we're like doctors, and we have to take them and examine them. We have to say, okay, did you do the first step? Yes, I did the first step. I know I want a boyfriend, it's clear. Did you do the second step? Yes, I chose an old lady. I made a plan. I did it. Then did you do the third step? Yes, I took her every week. I go. I'm losing a lot of money at Starbucks. And then we hit the fourth one, and we say, did you do coffee meditation? As as Anatole taught me today so skillfully. That was a nice one. I don't know if it was just to getting some sleep was nice, or if the meditation was nice. But then there's this very, this moment that repeats itself all over the world, and there's a slight hesitation in their answer. They'll say, yes. And then after a couple of countries, you get used to, you grab onto the, and you say, what do you mean, And they're like, well, I've been trying to do it. And then you say, come on, tell me how many nights a week you really do it. And they say like 2 nights a week. And then you say, well, but we told you that was like crucial. We told you that was the whole thing. The first 3 steps plant the seed. The fourth one makes it open. If you don't do the fourth one, you can walk around for 1,000 years with a boyfriend seed that didn't open. Which is what happens to most people. Then, please go home, do the coffee meditation better. We'll send Anatole to your house. You can stand over while you're falling asleep. And then they just finally break down and they start telling the truth. And it's always the same. And they say, I can't do it. I just can't do it, I get in bed. And I think there's 2 divisions of those people. One are, people say, I start to think about good things that I did, and then worries take over my mind. I start worrying about my credit cards, or the interview I didn't finish for Russia, or the readings I didn't do for Mexico yet, for Leon, or Vallarta, or Guadalajara, or Mexico City, or I start worrying about the fundraising for the Judson Compass Center, or and I know because I do it myself, and those are the worries I have. They come up in my mind, and then they take over. They take over the time that I'm laying on my bed. They book the time, and it goes into the whole night. If I wake up to pee-pee or something and I start trying to do coffee meditation, the worries come back, and that's one kind of person. And the other kind of person says, I tried to think about good things about myself, but it felt wrong. It felt prideful, or it felt like I was, I felt like I was bragging to myself. And they're very sweet people, they're very sincere people, and they say it just didn't feel right to me to lay down and think about what a nice person I was for helping the old lady. So I think you have to try to draw some kind of a middle of the road, okay? First problem, when you're tired, it's extremely difficult to meditate. The most tired you are in the whole day is the few minutes before you fall asleep. And then, I tell people, I use this image that the mind wants to think about my credit card debts or, some student who's not being nice to me. And then you have to grab the mind and force it back. And in the mind, it stays for a minute or two. It says, okay, you were nice today, you did a good thing, Yoshi Michael, and Diamond Mountain, you did. But my credit cards, my credit cards. and then you're like, shh, come back, and there's this little struggle in the middle here. And then you're like, come on, but you're teaching this all day. Just think about something good you did today. And then they're like, yeah, but we don't have the money to feed it. You start, and this tension, it's a muscle. It's a meditation muscle. You build a muscle by struggling. It's the struggle builds the muscle. It's like doing Ormit's class, yoga class. She always puts you in some unpleasant pose, but you keep going because it builds the muscles up. So okay, I'll stay in the pose. No gain, no pain, no gain. Okay, I'll do it. And meditation is the same. Okay, so you have to. For the first problem about acknowledging yourself, you have to fight with your mind and bring it back off of your problems to what you're doing well. That's the first step. Then the second step is to draw a line between pride and acknowledging yourself. And people have trouble with that. Good people, it's the better people who have trouble with that. They feel uncomfortable being recognized, even by themselves. So they're like, okay, I probably have some good qualities, but I don't want to think too much about them because I don't want to be arrogant. Yeah, I'm afraid I'll flip over to arrogant. So then that's just wisdom. You have to be wise. You will not grow fully inside if you don't acknowledge the good stuff you're doing. You will always be not quite enough. You will never be as good as you could have been if you learn to wisely acknowledge the goodness in you, okay? And your season will grow. And then, of course, you have to avoid arrogance or that bias that he's talking about, where you also deny the mistakes you make. That's also a problem. So you have to just be wise. But from practical experience, ACI, if nothing else, we travel a lot. If nothing else, we cover a lot of miles, and we see a lot of people. We see tens of thousands of people, and we have discussions with them all day. And the single biggest problem in the world, every country, is that people can't acknowledge the goodness in themselves. And it's striking, and it's universal. And it's amazing, they can't do the fourth step. They can't do coffee meditation. They just can't admit that they did anything sweet today, So I think, in my opinion, from practical experience, from practically meeting so many people, the mistake that you're likely to make more often is to not give yourself enough credit. And not look enough at the good things you're doing. And you know the difference. In your heart, you know the difference. There's pride. Did I sing better than Benny Kendra or not? That's obviously, it feels bad to think like that. It feels wrong, And then there's a healthy rejoicing in what you do well. And that's not bias. That's just acknowledgement. So I just from practical experience, I think all the other DCI staff would agree. People don't give themselves enough credit. People don't think enough about the good things they're doing. Okay? So that's what I would say. And the point of this week lesson is to try to do it with other people also. Try to focus on their good side. It's possible that you're 99% good and you just don't acknowledge it. Or you're enlightened already. You know, it's possible. You see what I mean? That's more likely the case. Okay? I think he's just using, he gives Lama jokes every once in a while, just funny jokes. It's like, you know, yeah, you can't see anybody else as a Buddha, but you can do no wrong, right? You always excuse your own mistakes to yourself. But in his heart, he believes in Dakparojam, which is a billion purities. You know, everything pure. Everything about this evening pure. That's his real philosophical position. Right? And he keeps coming back to it. Another question? In the back. Sakamoto, sorry for that your name.
Ryan,
Right, okay.
you talked one time about a metaphor, a river being the Dharma, and your mind is like a cold wind, and the ice that forms on top of the river being like dogma or something like that. And with practices like Nimdro, you know, that come from a culture that I'm not familiar with. Like like Nimdro practices, right, comes from like a culture I'm not familiar with. You know, like Abhidharma, and it talks about, you know, really cool things. How do you break through the ice? You know, like how much license do I have to be creative with those practices?
It's a good question. It's funny because you hear different Buddhist groups. What do you call it? What do you call it? People who are converting are called what? Converts are more likely to be sectarian than originals. You know, it's kind of funny. You know, like American Buddhists are much more rigid and dogmatical than Tibetans are at all. Tibetans are kind of loose about the whole thing and friendly to each other, you know. And then American are like, what sect are you, you know? And, what Tibetan sect are you, you know? And it's kind of strange. And then they get really picky about little stuff like, oh, they do their mandala with, you know, wheat instead of rice. You know, I don't know, you know. I can't believe they do it with wheat, you know. And no, and I was there. I know I did it myself. The reason I understand it is in my early years, you know, as a convert, I was like, I can't believe, you know, these other schools. There was a lama named Chogyam Trungpa. He had parties. He had girlfriends. He was. And his books were brilliant. And on the day he died, a double rainbow came out all day over the place. And, you know, but we were like, oh, they don't, you know, they do everything with their right hand instead, you know. And then, so I think as you get older and more wise in your practice, you get more accepting of other traditions, and you start to see that a lot of my personal position, okay, is that my personal ideal is that you know the ancient scriptures perfect, backwards and forwards, Sanskrit, Pali, Tibetan, you know, and you know, you devote your life to them, you know what they say, and then you have the creativity to apply it to your life and your modern world. you know, and that may mean that you play rock and roll or something like that, okay? I believe in that combination. So creativity with great training is unstoppable. Creativity without training is dangerous. Lack of creativity with or without training is boring. and no, then you kill that. Nobody will come to the temple, you know. And then the next year they'll sell the temple, like they did in New York. I almost bought a Catholic church in New York. But this nightclub got to it before me. Yeah, it's called I was there. I bid on it. I got outbid. It's a beautiful stone church. And that's what happens if it's boring, you know. So I think creativity, license, but from a foundation of intense training, and then you won't make a mistake. The last component you need there is a teacher who can advise you that you've gone too far, or that you're not going far enough. You see what I mean? So in our tradition, the answer is threefold. Number one, your training is impeccable. Number two, you gotta be creative and you gotta adjust to your times. And number three, you need a spiritual advisor who can help you when you're going too far either way. Okay, that's the perfect combination. Okay, you can't always get all three at the same time, but that's the ideal. You know, that's the perfect thing. I was really happy. I was on. I never get on Facebook because I don't have time. But we were on a little campaign to let people know about the 48 countries we go to, and so we decided to post Facebook stuff, and so I read it to make sure it's getting done. And there's this comment in Russian, and there's me and Aisha and Anatole up there playing, you know, and there's this comment in Russian, and I'm like, you know, translate, and it says, "This is really cool, you know, this is the way Buddhism should be taught, you know, with jazz, you know, like some Russian is saying this that I never heard of," and I think that's true. I think it will attract a lot more people. It's more fun. It's just a lot more fun. So that's my answer. Three things. One, impeccable training. Constant training. Every day. Read something new. Keep training yourself. And I still do. Dalai Lama gets up at 4 o'clock every morning and studies. Constant training, creativity, and then someone to keep you straight. It could be your partner. That's a typical place in Buddhism for a partner. Is they tell you when you're getting boring or too radical. Another question? Okay, let's do one more question. Yes, Tim?
Last night you were speaking of that luminous, you call it the luminous image that arises when a karmic seed opens up and then goes out, right? And I was talking to a friend about this, and for me it's a little bit confusing because it's not like the imagination where I can imagine a pen in my mind, right? It's the luminous image that opens up as my imagination seeing a pen. So what I'm wondering, is there another way that we can talk about it not using the word image to get a different... I'm having a hard time conceptualizing
okay, good.
A little bit.
I'll repeat the question. What happens to a karmic seed between the time that you do something and the time something comes back to you, which is similar, is where a lot of people fail in understanding karma. Okay? So, like, they understand the process of planting, they're okay with that, action, body, speech, mind, that's okay. But what happens between the moment that I kick the dog and then I get in a fender bender, where does the stuff stay, what happens, what's going on? if someone could explain that to me clearly, I would become more of a karmaist. You know, if you could just tell me what's happening between those two, then I could accept it better, and then I would follow it better. And the whole idea that, so lately in DCI we've been working on it with a couple of things. Because we were doing a scripture, we came across Langje Jokje. Say Langje? Langje Jokje. Langje Jokje. It's a very beautiful word for how karma is planted in the mind. Lak means lakpa. J means anu in Sanskrit, which means what? After. So it's called an afterhand. Lakje. But it means an imprint. It's the Tibetan word for imprint. So watch my palm. And then I go like this, you know. Then I let go, and there's still some kind of an indentation, right? That's called lakje. Lakje jokje means the thing which plants, the thing which presses the imprint. Lakje jokje, okay? That, what is that? So I'm going through the whole process with you, which is very sexy. And if you get it, you'll become a karmaist, okay? So I hand Jigme my tea, and she wakes up long enough to drink it. Wait, watch this. No, go ahead. Watch this point. Hang on to it, okay?
Yeah.
I let go, right? So, and then I have some kind of intention, like I want her to have it. So I let go. And then there's a shapes and colors change here, which is all that the eye can detect. The eye cannot detect the hand. It only has rods and cones. They only detect changes in shape or color. That's all. They can't evaluate what's going on. The eye cannot do that. The eyeball cannot do that. The cells at the back of the eye, the optic nerve, cannot interpret what's going on. But my mind and my heart is saying, I opened my hand, I gave it to her. When I see the hand open, that image flies into my eye, through the windows of my eye, into my brain, and the image actually presses into the stuff of the mind, and it leaves an impression. And then that festers into a karmic seed. It's very cool, okay? And that becomes a karmic seed. Below the consciousness, below in the subconscious, it becomes a karmic seed. And then that seed sits there. And if you never do coffee meditation, it can sit there for 1,000 lifetimes. Which explains why generous people don't always get rich. Or, you know, people who help old ladies sometimes are lonely. Okay? Or doctors die of Ebola, right? You have to understand that. The seed can stay there forever, unless you water it. So then if you water it with what? Coffee meditation. And there's a whole pranic explanation of that process. When you focus on a good thing you did, you are focusing on that Lagje Jokje, and then the prana is carried to that point in your being, and it heats up the karmic seed. It's really neat. Lung Sem Jukpachipa, right? The prana heats up the karmic seed. And then it opens faster. So if you want stuff to happen in your life, you can control it. If you understand the coffee meditation, you can do anything in the world. It's so amazing. And then I have this very interesting reaction from people. They feel guilty that it should be so easy. They say, I have to suffer Geshe Michael. You know, someone has to nail me up for me to do anything good. You know, it can't be as simple as laying down in the temple and having Anatole joke around and think about nice stuff. That can't be enough, you know. I have to suffer like Milarepa, you know. And the fact is you don't. That's all. Be happy about the good things you've done. The prana focuses on the seed, on the impression, and it opens faster. How it opens, now I get to his question. So usually I just use questions as a propaganda vehicle. So then, you can imagine a cup of tea in your mind. Okay, if you close your eyes, you can imagine a cup of tea in your mind. Okay. And Tim's question, his real question, was: is that the same as the luminous image which comes out of the karmic seed? Okay, because we're at the end of the explanation that you were missing when your mom told you about don't step on bugs because you'll get in car accidents. It was, how is the thing stored? How is the imprint made? How does the seed produce from the imprint? How does the seed stay in my subconscious? How is the seed brought to maturity? And then the last step, just before the thing comes back to you, how does it open? How does the seed open? What happens in those milliseconds that the person raises the blue stick and says, what is this thing, right? Then in that millisecond, a karmic seed opens in your mind, and it truly is a luminous image, and it is not the same. Now I'm answering your question. It's not the same as the image you have in your mind when you're imagining a pin, okay? It's different. It's different. And you're doing it constantly. You're doing it right now. Seeds, luminous images of Geshe Michael are being thrown onto my round and my square. My red rounded square. That's all I am for you, for your eye. And then your mind is throwing all I can compare it to is a neon light or something like that. Okay? The pen is like a neon light. It's luminous. It's not illuminated, okay? It's not like a white thing which is lights bouncing off it. It's not like that. It's like lights coming from inside of it. And so it's like a light bulb or something, but it's shaped like a pen. And then that image is thrown onto the stick or the red square, and you see Geshe Michael. But that's how it's coming from you, okay? And if you understand it, you're more comfortable with using it. You see what I mean? To make things happen. Like seeing somebody as a Buddha. Okay? Because that's how you see somebody as a Buddha. So how do I plant the seeds to see somebody as a Buddha? Lung and ring. Yeah, keep thinking about those quotations. Oh, Vajradhara promised he'd come back in the body of someone close to me. You have to think about him. And then, wow, like every tantra said the same thing. And then you use lung and then you use ring. So the more you entertain the possibility that he's Vajradhara is embedded in his chest, the more that Vajradhara is created from you. Because luminous images are popping out of karmic seeds that were planted when you entertain the possibility that he could be a Buddha. Got it? So entertaining the possibility makes him a Buddha. It's so nice. Okay? So the luminous image, it really is a luminous image, like a light, like a pen-shaped light bulb.
Where? I mean, that's my issue, is that it's like there's not a where to it. It's not like it's a luminous image where.
Oh.
So it's like.
Okay, now we get to another point. Okay. How do you first detect these luminous images in your own mind? You've been tossing them out at the rate of 65 a second since the day you were born. You've been, in fact, before. In the womb you were doing it. You were throwing these images out. So why haven't I ever seen one? They're so fast. And there's this innate mistake that you make that you think the pen's coming from the pen. So if you want to meet one of those images, you have to meditate every day, like an hour. 45 minutes to an hour every day. And then there will come a time when you catch it. You catch one popping up. And you're like, aha, that's what he was talking about. And by the way, that happens just before you see emptiness directly. It happens on the same day. It's Jorlam Chuchor. It's a certain spiritual level. It happens on the same. It happens within a few hours before you see emptiness directly. Okay, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. That's where the seeds are coming from.
So at this point, for me, it's
Yeah, you have to imagine.
I have to imagine.
The luminous image of a pen, which is not the same as imagining a pen.
Right.
Okay. And if you think about it, you'll see it faster. And there's some kind of magic about seeing it that is so compelling that then within a few hours you see emptiness directly. Okay? So it's important to try to see it. But even before you see it, if someone just explains to you what's happening mechanically between the moment you offer someone a tea and then the moment you get invited to Royal Palms for breakfast, you know, like, or future Diamond Mountain Student Center, which will exceed Royal Palms. If someone can give you a decent explanation of what happens between those two things, it's so much more compelling. It's so much more comfortable to try to use it. Okay? Okay? We're out of time, but I'll do one more for fun. Okay? Yes.
Well, I was just going to follow in that too. Like the question I had was the luminous image of the colors and shapes of you giving Jigme the tea. Would you say that they are similar when the luminous image later comes out, like when the karma ripens?
Yeah, you can say that.
You say that there's a similar.
You can say that.
Luminous images.
Yeah. A luminous image must have created the cup that I offered to Jigme. And then when the imprint was made, the seed grew from the imprint, and then what came out was another image, a similar image of a cup. Yeah. Then that gets into all kinds of fancy questions. Like, let me see. Well, one obvious question is then when was my first cup imprint? And in Buddhism we have to say what? There was no first one. Okay. Imprints must come from similar previous imprints. So there can't be. And Americans feel uncomfortable with that. I don't know why. Because in America we have this false belief that if something didn't have a beginning, it couldn't exist. A first beginning. But Buddhism has the opposite assertion, that if something had a first beginning, well, how could that ever be? Because it would have to come from something dissimilar, which is impossible. Okay? So we feel very uncomfortable with the idea that somebody could make a planet from nothing. It doesn't make sense. Even in science, but scientists are so Judeo-Christian brought up that they can't even see that they're saying that. You know what I mean? You know, they're like, yeah, the whole world started from a black hole. But where did that come from? Well, you know. No, they're blind. They're totally blind to it. It's amazing. Because they've made so many other great advances. Okay? That's the one thing. But what was the other thing? Oh, the other thing, I can't remember it. Some people are uncomfortable with the fact that the luminous image which created the cup that I gave to Jigme also served as a cause to plant the new one. Okay? So are you suggesting that something could be a result of a previous luminous image and also be the cause of the next luminous image, because that doesn't feel comfortable. You know, either it's creating the next one or it's coming from the last one. But how can it be both at the same time? The Buddhist answer to that is all causes are also results. Get used to that. And all results are also causes. Nothing that happens, nothing which is caused cannot cause another thing. And nothing which causes another thing cannot have been caused by something before it. Everything that does anything is both a cause and a result at the same time. Always. And we don't feel uncomfortable with that. We feel uncomfortable with the opposite. Okay? If you're telling me something could be caused by something else and then not have another effect, like is energy, in physics terms, can momentum ever be lost completely, Or is energy conserved? You see what I mean? It's a cool question. So the luminous image which made me see a cup is also the one which plants the next one. Okay, one more. We gotta go to bed then. I'm getting you up earlier every day, if you didn't notice. Good question. Yeah, good, okay. If that's the case, that all luminous images are coming from previous luminous images, then it would seem that the world would have to go on in the same way forever. As if we were blind turtles at the bottom of the ocean. And to make a change would be as unlikely as coming to the surface and putting your head through a lifesaver that fell off the Titanic in 19... And it would seem that impossible to have any kind of change happen. And that's why the scriptures use that metaphor. It is almost impossible for a change to happen. The perpetuation of the cycle of suffering is particularly vicious because it's almost impossible to break it. Because it propels itself. Images of cups make images of cups. And forever. And to make a real change is almost impossible. But not quite. I mean, it's super unlikely and it's gonna happen sooner or later to everybody. Okay? Alright, let's stop there. Any announcements for... At least we should tell people when we're starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Earl, here comes Earl. Hang on.
Okay.
Don't say please. We have the paper ready for them.
Okay, so the morning shuttle is 6:30 to 7, and it's been going very smooth, so thank you very much. That's been really a relief.
First session starts
Breakfast is at 7. First session starts at 7:30. Thank you, Nick.
Is that the same as today?
Yes. It's meditation at 7:30 for 1 hour, and then class at 8:30.
Meditation 7:30, class at 8:30, but the shuttle is at 6:30. Connie wanted to remind people that there's fridges in the campground if you want to put food in there. There's fridges in the campground if you want to put the food in there. Food in the fridge in the campground. So this has been I was at the Shivananda ashram in the Bahamas, and they had a very cool system there where everyone pitched in to help. And I've been asking some people to do things, like ring the bell or straighten out the shoes or help with the water bottles, and people have been very, very happy to help, and it's made my job and other people's job a lot easier. And today I asked the campers to help clean up after us in the temple, and they seem very happy to do so. So I wanted to thank them for that. As a group, they're going to serve us by cleaning up. And now I'm going to ask the rest of us to pitch in a little more, because there's some people that are cooking for us and cleaning up for us and not getting to go to teachings. And we need to change that. And so I took my turn today. I cleaned up all of the tables and all of the chairs and set up the breakfast before class today. And so we're going to have a sign up for 5 people to help after lunch and 5 people to help after dinner. So the lunch will be 12:45 to 1:15, and the dinner will be 5:15 to 5:45. If we get 5 people, I don't think anyone has to miss class. So that's our goal. Okay. So I need 5 people for lunch tomorrow, 12:45 to 1:15. Okay, just call out your names. Mark, I saw. Kathy?
Rosa.
Catherine, sorry.
Another Mark.
Prem? Prem and Marina?
Rosa.
And Rosa. Okay, dinner, 5:15 to 5:45. Aisha? Gibson, thank you. Emily? Will? Yep. And Christine. And then for the other days, I'll just get a sheet and people can sign up. So thanks. I really appreciate it. And our goal, like I said, is for everyone to be able to come to the teachings. Oh, this was very cool. Someone at one of the previous retreats had a hard time, and had asked us if at this retreat we could have an AA meeting. And so I'm very happy. We had AA meetings all through 3 retreat, and it was very, very effective and powerful and important for people. Alcoholics Anonymous, people with addictions, so people that have problems with addictions, people get together and help each other out with those addictions, with a very beautiful program where you fix your addiction by trying to help other people with theirs. So on Wednesday after the last program, so that means, I don't know what time that is. What time is it? So Wednesday, when we come down from here, at Jamyang House at the back, so go around back at Jamyang House if you would like some help, or if you would like to participate in that. That's a great question. Jamyang House is where all the cooking happens at. So if you're in the campground, it's across the street at the brick building, the adobe building. Okay.
If you need to meet me, I may not be able to meet everybody, but I'm willing to try. And you talk to Jingmei, okay? But there may not be time for everybody, okay? Just because I have to rest also a little bit and stuff like that. One person today who lives at the ocean for their whole life, they felt some difficult breathing here, because this is a mountain. It's not a very high mountain. It's probably a little higher than Shanghai, but not much. And but they're used to the ocean their whole life. So we call loom. It's a condition of the prana. And if you feel any like meditation problems or meditation questions, or you have problems with your knees, or you have problems with your back, or you have questions about you're getting some headache from meditation or something, like you have personal questions. I spoke to the 3-year retreatants today, And they all agreed that they would be willing to help with that, and with something bigger at the end of the week, which I'll talk about later. But could I ask the 3-year retreatants who would like to help loom cases to raise their hand? Yeah, so look around. If you have meditation questions,
Yeah, so can I stand up? I don't know if everyone...
you want to stand up, 3-year retreatants? If you're being bothered by red circular objects flying into your room or something, they've seen everything. They've done everything. They've had every problem you could ever imagine 100 times. Just talk to one of them, okay? And they're happy to help, okay? Any kind of meditation question. They are veterans of many foreign wars. Okay. See you tomorrow. Oh, sorry. You want to go? Okay, good job. You've been doing really good. The meditations are powerful. And just be tough, okay? As the week goes on, your knees will hurt, your butt will hurt, your back will hurt. Go get a massage from one of our excellent massage therapists. If you don't have any money, just whine and they'll do it for free. And just tough it out, okay? It's going to get a little tougher now. If you can do it for 1,000 days, you can do it for 10. Probably, okay?
Thank you.